Good-looking James. James the Red Engine loved working on the island of Sodor. He's a mixed traffic engine and can pull goods trains and coaches. He was proud of his red paint, and his driver was too. Everyone says that you're brightening their day up, James. One morning, James whistled loudly to Thomas and Percy as he puffed in. Look at me, Thomas and Percy, said James. I am the most useful engines on the line, and the smartest. Rubbish, James, replied Thomas. We're all useful. Sir Topple has said so, and he has headed the whole railway. You know what, James? Chimed in Percy. What, Percy? You're getting all puffed up. James puffed away crossly, leaving Thomas and Percy looked at each other and was confused. Later, he was still boasting to Gordon. I am the pride of the line. I saw you pulling freight cars, snorted Gordon. You're on your goods engine. I pull coaches too. Well, not as much as I do. But Sir Topple has plans for me. James was always making these things up, but Gordon believed them. What plans? You'll see, Gordon. Oh dear, now what do I do? The next morning, Thomas was shunting shining coaches. Good morning, James. Are those coaches for me? Asked James hopefully. No, tooted Thomas. These are for Gordon's Express. I'll fix your freight cars next. But James was going to play a trick on the other engines. Actually, Thomas, I'm taking the coaches today, so Topple asked me to tell you. Well, what about the cars? Asked Thomas. Get them to Gordon. Come on, Thomas, said his driver. Orders are orders. So after James coupled to the train, he waited for the passengers, and soon when they boarded, he puffed away. Thomas returned with the freight cars. He saw Gordon standing on the siding. Little Thomas, begged Gordon, where's the express? Thomas told him about James. James took them. So he wanted me to tell you that you're taking freight cars. Pah, me? Pulling goods trains? Disgraceful. Gordon's driver was also cross too. Wait until Sir Topple hears about this. Meanwhile, James was enjoying himself enormously. Haha, my plan worked, he laughed happily. Then he saw Sir Topple at Great Waterton Station. Some jokes are funny, but not this one, James. You have caused confusion. You will now stay in your shed until you want it. Yes, sir, said James sadly. The other engines teased James the next morning. I wonder who will be pulling the express today, said Gordon. I expect it to be you, replied Henry. James is stuck in the shed for being silly. James felt sad. The next morning, James was back to work. Good morning, James, said Thomas. It's nice to see you out and about again. I'm sorry I tricked you yesterday, Thomas, said James. Are these my freight cars? Yes, they were, James, replied Thomas. They are pleased to have you back. James set off to the harbor with his freight cars. After that, everything was done and James was sat in the siding. It's time to go home now, James, said his driver. No passengers or freight cars. It's just me and you. But his driver was wrong. and soon a person came up walking towards them. "Excuse me," said the man, "but I have a meeting with Sir Topham Hatt, and I mustn't be late. If it's okay if I ride back with you?" "Of course you can," said James's driver, and then he whispered to James. "That's the railway inspector," he said. James was most impressed. He steamed down the line smoothly and quickly as he could. And afterwards, James arrived back at Knapford Station safe, free, and sound. And the railway inspector told Sir Topham Hatt everything. "This clever engine gave me a smooth ride. You must be proud of him, sir." "Yes, indeed," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Once again, James, you are a really useful engine." And James had to agree.
The island of Sodor is a wonderful place. There are lots and lots of engines. Who's that puffing along the track? It's James. James is a bright red engine. He can pull lots of freight cars. He has the number 5 painted on his tender, a bright brass dome, and 6 strong driving wheels that clickety-clack along the tracks of Sodor. James is the only red engine, and he is very proud of his red coat. One day, James had a bright new coat of red paint. He wanted all the other engines to tell him how wonderful he looked. The next morning, Sir Topham Hatt told James to help Percy at the coaling plant. But James went to gaze at his reflection in the canal. At last, James arrived. The yard manager told him to take an extra long line of freight cars to Brendam Docks. James was very happy. There were a lot of people at the docks to tell him how splendid he looked. So James puffed off. But the freight cars were very troublesome. They biffed and they bashed. They wriggled and giggled and covered James in coal dust. When James arrived at Brendam, his bright red coat was very dirty. Luckily, James is never too proud to see the funny side, but his pride can get him into a lot of trouble. There was to be a new holiday poster for the island of Sodor. Sir Topham Hatt chose Edward to be the poster engine. James was upset. He and Edward were almost the same. James decided to do everything he could to be the poster engine. He tried to get into the poster photograph, but Sir Topham Hatt sent him away. Thomas and Percy told James that Edward was chosen because he was gentle. And Edward didn't mind doing dirty jobs. So James was gentle at the coaling yard. But that made him late. James took the express track to race Edward. He was just in front when a signal turned red. James screeched to a halt. But Edward couldn't stop in time. Edward ran into James, and James shot straight through the poster. Now James was the poster engine. James knows when he has gone too far, and then he helps his friends. That's because James is a really useful red engine, and he shines most of all when he is with his friends.